You tell me Puff went away for a long time, bro, but do you not hear the of Meek Mill? Do you not hear all the shake it off, shake it off, take that.
As a voice willing to challenge some of entertainment's most powerful names. Figures like Will Smith, Jay-Z, and Diddy. She argues that what the public sees is only a carefully managed slice of a much larger picture. According to her, the real story stays behind closed doors, while audiences are shown a version that's been filtered and approved. When she speaks about Will Smith, Jaguar doesn't frame her comments as a verdict. Instead, she presents them as an explanation of how a broader system operates. She alludes to Will's past closeness to Diddy, and what she describes as an old Puffy-era culture, connecting it to long-standing industry habits and power structures. To many listeners, these ideas feel familiar, even though they remain unproven and are shared more as implications than facts. She also references Orlando's Orlando Brown, whose repeated online appearances include claims that he knows damaging information about Will Smith. What started as rumor quickly grew louder through viral clips and constant rush repetition. No solid proof is offered, just noise and momentum, a pattern longtime followers of celebrity controversies recognize. Well, talk about Will's personal life has circulated online for years. Private relationships, unnamed sources, family strain, and industry pressure often get blended together until speculation starts to sound like truth. That's where the real risk lies. Once people are invested, attention alone keeps the history alive. Will isn't the only name pulled into these conversations. Public figures like Justin Bieber and Bryce Gray are often mentioned as part of wider discussions about power and exploitation in entertainment. These references aren't presented as confirmed stories, but as warnings about what can happen when young talent is treated as a commodity instead of a person. Jaguar also points to Jada Smith, suggesting she understood certain behind-the-scenes dynamics. She brings up names like Meek Mill to reinforce her view of an interconnected circle where insiders protect shared interests. In hurdling, it's less about one person and more about an industry culture that looks after itself first.
A lot. He said a lot.
He said everything but the thing that was important. That he know that Will Smith, Jaden, he Bashir and he Meek Mills, and you know it, Bilal. He's who knew that your husband was doing things to boys and did stuff to your son, and you ain't doing about it. Bilal told me everything.
They're good friend who.
Bilal told me, Jada. He told me that you knew Will was in your child. Yes, he did. Wonder why he left that out of his top game.
She keeps pressing that point, saying this is simply how the system works. When people understand that, conversations shut down and stories rarely come out clean. Later, when the topic resurfaces, many point how Bryce Gay's public image appears to have shifted dramatically. Anyone who followed his online presence noticed it too. His pages suddenly began pushing content aimed at a very specific audience. The change was so abrupt that people weren't sure whether to take it seriously or brush it off. Rumors suggest that his life wasn't always like that. He was once married, and some insiders claim he believed settling down would fix the inner struggles he was dealing with, building a traditional life to quiet the chaos. That plan didn't unfold the way people expected. Online accounts describe growing tension that eventually spilled into Avery public breakup. From there, speculation took over. Some corners of the internet even hint at serious personal conflict, though none of that has been proven. What's clear is that perception began to shape reality, and many believe the fallout influenced how presents himself today. From there, the internet did what it always does. It started drawing lines. People began comparing what they see in Bryce's public moments with situations involving Justin Bieber, especially when it comes to awkward appearances with Hailey. Viewers talk about uncomfortable energy and tense moments, even though there are no verified incidents or documented harm. Clips get replayed, moods get interpreted, and eventually the feeling becomes the story. A short video of Justin at a club that went viral months ago is a good example. Some blamed the party scene, others blamed alcohol, but for many, it became fuel for the idea that things behind the scenes in his marriage weren't as smooth as they seemed. Once that kind of narrative starts, it rarely fades. Jaguar argues that decisions made early in Justin's career added pressure and placed him under Will Smith's influence, something she now calls a serious mistake. These are opinions, not confirmed facts. Still, once those ideas surface, people immediately recall older public moments involving Will and his own family. When viewers think they see a pattern, repetition takes over. One interview from a 2013 promotional tour is often mentioned, remembered by many as tense and uncomfortable to watch. Whether fair or not, those moments continue to shape how these stories are retold today. Some people also question whether that moment should have happened at all, pointing out that Jaden, who was still a minor at the time, looked clearly uneasy in the video. To be fair, those clips have been debated for years without any formal claims of wrongdoing. Still, they continue to resurface because critics argue they highlight how unclear boundaries in Hollywood can lead to long-running controversy. Even back then, some of Will's supporters pushed back, saying his overly affectionate behavior toward his son felt uncomfortable. That reaction never fully faded. Each time the subject comes up, the same concerns are repeated. That repetition is what gives the footage lasting power. Once the internet Decidisa clip counts as proof rather than an old interview, it starts treating it like ammunition. When Jaguar later brought up allegations connected to Bal Salam, the discussion intensified even more. Belows were reportedly very close for years, often described as collaborators and trusted companions. According to online accounts, that relationship eventually broke down. Jedi is frequently placed at the center of that fallout was named in a $3 million lawsuit filed by Bal Salam in late 2025. Unlike online rumors, this claim was presented as intentional emotional harm. In the filing, Bal says the conflict began in 2021 and points to an incident during Will's birthday celebration that September. He alleges that Jada confronted him publicly, that the exchange quickly became intense, and that the message carried what he perceived as a warning to stay silent about private matters. He also claims he was pressured to sign a non-disclosure agreement, which he says he refused. Whether proven or not, moments like these keep resurfacing because they fit into a larger narrative many people already believe. And once that belief takes hold, every past clip, old argument, or legal filing gets pulled back into the spotlight, adding more fuel to a story that never seems to fully disappear.
Today.
He tried to kiss me.
Have you ever kissed your son on tight toes before? You're not looking kiss me. You know I love him, Ellen. I love him.
According to Bal, a great deal shifted behind closed doors. He says he turned down a request to help the Smiths manage public image issues because it conflicted with his moral, ethical, and legal standards. He claims that refusal triggered mounting pressure that didn't ease over time. Things allegedly grew even more tense when people believed he was preparing a memoir. Around that same period, he made bold remarks about Will Smith's supposed past relationships and private life. None of those claims have been confirmed, and the people involved strongly dispute them. Still, once statements like that appear online, they didn't disappear. Even without proof, they get shared, reposted, and clipped as if they're permanent records. Bal has also described himself as struggling financially while continuing to suggest that earlier relationships ended because of personal discoveries. Again, framed as accusations, not verified facts. In multiple appearances, including on Tasha K's platform, he claimed he was ready to back up his words if matters ever became legal, saying he wouldn't show up without evidence. Whether serious or performative, he made it clear he was backing down. As a result, his account keeps expanding, drawing in more voices and perspectives. He's described the situation as a pressure cooker, with tension building as more people join the conversation. As these claims circulate across different platforms, another familiar name resurfaces. Diddy's former bodyguard Gene Deal has gained attention for alleging that Will Smith and Diddy often shared private party spaces, which he described as lavish and chaotic. As with many of the other stories, these statements remain excess.
disappear.
But has a man behind her that's complicit in all her acts because she's holding things over Will's head, so Will feel he has to be complicit.
What type of things is she holding over Will's head? Like, from the time you met Will was straight, right?
As far as I know, yes.
As far as you know.
Yes.
Heterosexual?
Yes. He ran through a lot of beautiful women in Philly. Beautiful.
So you was around when he met his first wife?
Yes. Well, I didn't live in LA, but I met Cherie because I would come to California quite often. And when I would come to I met Cherie. So yeah, I was around before they had Trey and everything. And she would be hanging, around at the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air set. Okay.
So is it, in your opinion, do you feel like Jada intentionally took Will from Sheree, or were they truly having problems?
Well, of course they were having problems, but once again, Jada was the woman that everybody wanted, and Will needed that validation to have that type of woman. Although Sheree was beautiful,
yeah, she's beautiful.
But Sheree wasn't doing no movies. And, all the big guys in Hollywood wasn't trying to, celebrities weren't trying to get at her. It was Jada. So Will was like,
But once they enter the online echo chamber, they become part of an ever-growing narrative that refuses to fade. He doesn't present his account as an official record. Instead, Hef frames it as personal proximity. I was around it, he says, explaining that Heck knew the kind of private settings being discussed. Gene also claims that a situation involving Jennifer Lopez heightened tensions, hinting at misunderstandings, cross lines, and clashing personalities behind closed doors. He goes as far as suggesting that Will and Jada sometimes placed others in uncomfortable social positions. These are Gene's statements, not confirmed facts, and that distinction matters. Still, when these claims are viewed alongside lawsuit headlines, Jaguarite's interpretations, a story about how Puffy wanted to fight Will Smith over Jennifer Lopez. Oh man, we were at a birthday party that I think either Matt Damon was giving for Ben Affleck. It was just a little gathering. It was at the 4th season. Will Smith and his sister and her husband, we were all sitting on this side of the room. Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Jennifer Lopez, Puff, Will Smith, and Jada was sitting on the other side of the room. So I know Puff so well that he stood up. When he stood up, he walked in and did his arms some kind of way and then he looked like this, like that. I went over towards him. To go over there towards him. So I go over towards him and he said to me, and Orlando Brown's highly public remarks, they collide with what the public already associates with the Smiths, especially the widely discussed connection to August Alsina. Taken together, the mix of past controversies, ongoing allegations, and familiar reference points creates a perfect storm of attention, speculation, and debate that continues to fuel conversation online. Critics argue that moment changed how people saw the couple, almost like a door had been nudged open. Since then, there haven't been many new rumors, but the pause feels less like an ending and more like the start of another chapter. So, when people online say legal trouble could stretch into 2026, they're not citing court calendars. They're describing momentum. In internet terms, that means more filings, more disputes, more claims, and a story that refuses to settle. Orlando Brown is also rumored to be preparing new statements, which could pull him even deeper into the controversy. Once again, it's talk, not proof. Still, when someone hints,
Cherie caught Will in bed with Benny Medina. So, yeah, Benny Medina. Benny Medina is who the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is based off, and he's a, big talent manager. He had J-Lo, Puffy, a bunch of them. He had Will at one point, and, he's a known homosexual.
I've got receipts. The internet treats it like a countdown. From there, attention shifts to the Smiths' relationship structure, something TV openly discussed as unconventional. With no clear answers, online speculation rushes in to fill the gaps, often pushing narratives far beyond what's been confirmed. That speculation has grown more intense, with some corners of the internet suggesting hidden connections and secret dynamics behind the scenes. None of this has been verified. Yet, every new clip or comment is treated as evidence. You can see it in the comments. People questioning whether certain behavior was always public or claiming others were involved without distinction between fact and performance. Some even drag Jaden into the discussion, arguing he was misunderstood rather than supported. These are opinions, not established truths, but they show how divided public perception has become. The cycle continues as old interviews and past remarks are reinterpreted to fit newer theories. There's no documented proof of wrongdoing, But gossip culture often turns unanswered questions into firm conclusions. At the same time, others push back, saying there was never anything alarming at all, just private lives pulled into public view. Once again, it's rumors, recycled stories, and online chatter driving the narrative. So now the question shifts to you. Do you think there's something real behind all this smoke? Or is the internet stitching together unrelated moments to create a story that was never supported by facts? And at what point does gossip when paperwork appears or when enough people repeat the same claim? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you don't want to miss what comes next, like, subscribe, share, and turn on notifications. This story doesn't fade, it reloads. We'll see you in the next one.
Says
Smith is in the middle of a thing, namely a big legal thing, because according to someone, Jada threatened to put a bullet in them. Someone who is a close friend of Will's. Bilal Salam says that he and Will have been very close friends for a long time. He's worked with him on several projects, but something went south between Bilal and Jada back in 2021, and now Bilal has filed a $3 million lawsuit against Jada, claiming that she basically threatened, it comes across like
allegation